Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are witnessing a moment that will echo through history. A moment that many believed was impossible. Putin humiliated as Moscow burns. The pride of the Kremlin destroyed. This is not just another breaking news story. This is not just fire, smoke, or shattered concrete. This is a direct hit to the heart of Russian power. A psychological blow to Vladimir Putin's carefully constructed image, and a turning point that may redefine Russia's future. For decades, Moscow has stood as the ultimate symbol of Russian strength. It is not just the capital. It is the nerve center of power, authority, and control. Every major decision, every military order, every intelligence operation flows through this city. And at the core of Moscow stands the Kremlin, not just a building, but a symbol of dominance, continuity, and unchallenged rule. When Moscow burns, the message is unmistakable. The center is no longer untouchable. Vladimir Putin built his rule on one unbreakable promise: security. He promised Russians that the chaos of the past was over, that the humiliations of the 1990s would never return, that Russia would be feared, respected, and protected. Above all, he promised that war, instability, and humiliation would never reach Moscow. That promise has now been shattered in the most public and dramatic way possible. The images coming out of Moscow are devastating. Flames lighting up the night sky, thick smoke rising over landmarks once considered invulnerable. Emergency sirens echoing through streets that symbolized absolute control. These images are not just shocking. They are humiliating for a regime that prides itself on strength and dominance. For Putin, humiliation is dangerous. Strongmen survive on perception. They must appear powerful at all times. They must appear calm, calculated, and in control. The moment they appear weak, the system that supports them begins to crack. And today, the cracks are visible. For years, the Kremlin told the world that Moscow was protected by the most advanced air defenses, intelligence networks, and security services on Earth. The message was clear: attack anywhere else if you dare, but Moscow is off limits, untouchable, sacred. That illusion has now been destroyed. Inside Russia, this moment hits harder than any sanction or battlefield loss, because it strikes directly at belief in the system, belief in leadership, belief in the idea that Putin knows what he's doing. Ordinary Russians may not openly protest. Fear still exists, censorship still exists, repression still exists. But doubt has entered the room, and doubt is contagious. People are asking questions they were never supposed to ask. How did this happen? Who failed? If Moscow is not safe, then what is? These questions are poison for authoritarian systems. Putin's power has never been based solely on love or popularity. It has been based on fear, stability, and inevitability. The idea that he is permanent, that resistance is useless, that the system cannot be shaken, but flames in Moscow shatter the idea of inevitability. This humiliation does not stay confined to the streets. It travels upward into the ministries, the security agencies, the military command, and the inner circle of elites who depend on Putin for their wealth and protection. These elites are loyal, but their loyalty is conditional. It depends on one thing: competence. The moment Putin appears incapable of protecting the capital, loyalty begins to erode. History shows us this pattern again and again. Regimes rarely collapse because of the people alone. They collapse when the elites lose confidence, when insiders begin to doubt the leader's ability to survive, when they start thinking about their own futures. Right now, behind closed doors, those conversations are happening. Who will be blamed? Which agency failed? Which commander will be sacrificed? In authoritarian systems, failure always requires a scapegoat. And scapegoats create paranoia. Paranoia creates purges. Purges weaken institutions, and weakened institutions accelerate decline. This is the dangerous spiral Putin now faces. Internationally, the impact is just as severe. Russia's enemies see vulnerability. Its allies see risk. Neutral countries see uncertainty. The image of Russia as an untouchable fortress has been damaged, perhaps permanently. This changes calculations everywhere. Military planners reassess Russian capabilities. Political leaders rethink alliances. Markets react to instability. Influence drains away quietly but relentlessly. Power is not just about weapons. It is about credibility. And credibility, once lost, is incredibly hard to restore. For years, Putin demanded sacrifice from his people. Economic hardship, isolation, repression. He told them it was the price of greatness, the price of security, the price of restoring Russia's pride. Now, as Moscow burns, that bargain looks hollow. What was sacrificed for? If pride ends in humiliation, what remains? This moment exposes the true cost of centralized power. When one man holds all authority, mistakes become catastrophic. There is no correction mechanism, no honest feedback. No one dares to tell the truth. Warnings are ignored, reality is filtered. Propaganda replaces facts. And eventually, the system begins to believe its own lies, until reality strikes back. Moscow in flames is reality striking back. For Putin personally, this is not just a political failure, it is a psychological one. His entire identity is built around control, around strength, around the image of a man who always anticipates threats and neutralizes them before they appear. Today, that image lies in ruins. Strongmen fear humiliation more than defeat. Defeat can be explained. Humiliation cannot. It lingers, it spreads, it invites challenge, and challenges do not always come from the streets. They come from within. For ordinary Russians, fear now mixes with uncertainty. The promise of stability is broken. The future feels unpredictable, and unpredictability is terrifying in a system that demands obedience. The Kremlin will respond the only way it knows how. More censorship, more arrests, more propaganda, more attempts to control the narrative. But control has limits. Images of fire cannot be erased from memory. Every video shared, every whisper exchanged, every private conversation chips away at the myth. And myths are everything to authoritarian power. This does not mean Putin falls tomorrow. Power rarely collapses overnight. But it does mean that the foundation beneath him is weaker than before. More fragile, more vulnerable. History will remember moments like this as turning points. Not because everything changes instantly, but because something irreversible happens. Confidence is lost, fear changes direction, power begins to doubt itself. Moscow burning is one of those moments. It marks the day the Kremlin's pride was publicly wounded, the day Putin's promise of absolute security was broken, the day Russians saw that even the heart of their power could be reached. What comes next is uncertain, and that uncertainty is the most dangerous enemy Putin has ever faced. Because once people realize that power is not absolute, the future opens up in ways no regime can fully control. This is not just a story about fire. It is a story about humiliation, illusion, and the slow unraveling of an image that once seemed unbreakable. Putin was humiliated, Moscow burned, and the pride of the Kremlin was destroyed. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next video.